The heat is most definitely on in Great British Menu. This year's competition will be the most fiercely fought yet, with more top chefs than ever from across the country battling it out in the kitchen. This year, their challenge is to find new suppliers, source the very best super local ingredients, and create amazing dishes, because the final feast will be hosted by His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales, the nation's greatest champion of local food.
I'm thoroughly thrilled that Prince of Wales is going to be there. I'm definitely looking forward to him trying to get to the banquet and be able to cook at least one dish for him. It's such an honour to be able to cook for the royal family.
The National Trust is also an advocate of local food, and so, as the Prince is its president, the banquet will be held at one of the Trust's stunning properties. It will be a glorious celebration of the incredible range of ingredients grown and reared throughout the land and in our rivers and coastal waters.
Oh God, look at this.
And the guests will be 100 local food champions.
Steady.
The producers, farmers and fishermen who work tirelessly to put the very best British produce on the map.
Trying to do Scotland proud, and especially I want to do the Highlands proud.
This week it's the turn of Scotland and 3 talented chefs, Alan Murchison, Tony Singh and Michael Smith. Today's battle over the starters will see cockaliki terrine, pigeon salad and Scotch pie vie for top score, and each chef is determined to prove they have what it takes to win.
I'm really excited to be here. Can't wait to get into the kitchen, and I'm rearing to go.
Nervous, but keyed up, and I'll get through, definitely.
Fairly confident that with the right ingredients and the right dishes that I can go ahead and win this competition.
This year's competition is all about super local produce, but there's a catch, as the chefs are not allowed to use their usual suppliers. Instead, we challenge them to hunt for as many of their ingredients as possible from a small part of their region.
The core of your business is the relationship with your suppliers. So to go and find amazing produce was a real sort of almost treasure hunt. It was an adventure, and it was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do.
The National Trust for Scotland has always had a strong connection with local food, so each of our chefs used a different historic property as the starting point for their search. And they'll have to pull on all their creativity to produce a menu that's worthy of the Prince.
I think it's really fitting that Prince Charles is involved with the banquet. It's there to celebrate the producers, and I know that's something that's very close to his heart.
One of the chefs won't even get to cook for the judges on Friday.
Different this year, we're getting judged straight from the off.
The twist is that a veteran of the competition will taste and score their dishes each day. This week, it's Jeremy Lee, who's been in their place and knows the demands of the competition. On Thursday, he'll announce which 2 chefs with the highest total scores will be cooking for the judges and which chef will be going home early.
This year, not only do I get to look at the cooking, I've now got to judge it. So I'm looking for outstanding cooking. And that leaves no room for error whatsoever.
Service, please, Francois.
First up, Michelin-starred Alan Murchison, who lost out in last year's Great British Menu competition. He recently opened another restaurant, Paris House in Bedfordshire, where he serves technically precise, complex cuisine.
Good morning, Alan.
Good morning, Jeremy.
The return.
Indeed.
How are you?
I'm very well.
You're back to do a different brief, though.
It is. It's been a challenge for us, I'll be honest with you. We sourced these great chickens. They are superb. I've seen these birds wandering about. They have got very good quality of life and just a beautiful texture of meat. I love the denseness of the meat. There's a really intense flavour to it.
But what are you going to make? What dish are you going to make?
Starter I'm doing is a cockaliki terrine.
And cockaliki is normally a broth.
It is indeed.
Is it not?
With a prune puree, because I'm thinking, well, I'm going to win the competition, so to go to the banquet, to do a terrine is a perfect dish. And I'm going against the grain for me. I'm actually only going to use 3 ingredients.
A remarkably simple recipe, which is not what you're known for, young man, if I recall rightly.
So, in an unusual take on a Scottish favourite, cockaliki soup, Alan is making cockaliki terrine with prune puree.
Alan's dish is a generic dish, but it's a nicely conceived conceit. So I think it has great merit, but not potentially the oomph factor.
1 partridge, table 8.
The second chef is Tony Singh, whose modern Scottish restaurant is Oloroso in Edinburgh, where he serves simple, flavoursome food.
Good morning, Mr.
Morning.
Tony Singh.
Morning, Jeremy. How are you?
I'm very, very well indeed.
Yes.
How are you?
Fine, thanks.
Talk me through the dish, please, my dear.
Well, I went up to the estate without any preconceptions of the menu, and as soon as I got there, chatting to the foragers and everything, fantastic pigeon, very plump, tasty birds.
And the dish you're going to cook is...
Roast pigeon with hazelnut praline.
Aha!
Built my dish around that. There's a chap nearby that does honey, keeps his own bees and everything, so it all fell into place, so really simple.
So, inspired by his estate, Tony's starter is roast pigeon with hazelnut praline.
I think Tony's dish worries me slightly because it is just going to be a warm salad, and I'm not convinced that's got any bump. But what it also has is great merit because it has used all this local produce.
Give me a shout when they're breaded, please.
The third competitor is Michael Smith, head chef at the Three Chimneys on the Isle of Skye. His style of cooking, capitalising on what's available on his doorstep, reflects the restaurant's rugged Scottish location.
Michael Smith, good morning.
Jeremy, nice to see you again. Lovely to see you.
And you too, my dear. Very good to see you, old friend. How are you?
Michael was Jeremy's senior sous chef 10 years ago, but past friendships will count for nothing this week.
I've got two East Coasters down here
Uh-huh.
doing birds, but I don't see much bird activity in your box.
Not
What are
at
you going to
all.
cook for the Great British Menu?
Well, being inspired by the part of the world where I've visited, I'm using the iconic Highland coup to make an even more iconic but
About that
humble Scotch pie.
You're making a pie.
Yes, I am.
What all are you going to put into it?
I thought we would make it with 100% beef, with pickled winkles and a wild spring salad to accompany.
Pickled winkles in a Scotch pie.
They're not in the Scotch pie, they're accompanying the Scotch pie.
So finally, it's Michael, whose Scotch pie and winkles is a testament to the Highland estate he used as the starting point for his search for ingredients.
If he pulls it off, will be a knockout. But if he doesn't, might not be so great. So it's, you know, they all have their pitfalls. It's interesting.
Three very simple dishes going forward for the criteria of feeding 100 of the best producers in the country with a special guest, Prince of Wales. Are you confident, gentlemen, that this fulfills the brief and this is what you're going to do?
Definitely, ticks all the boxes. Local, seasonal, supporting local producers, yeah.
Well done. Good luck, darlings.
Thank you.
Hard taskmaster Jeremy wants absolute perfection from all three chefs, so he'll be basing his scores on two things alone: taste and how well the dishes are executed. Michael starts by making the hot water pastry for his Scotch pie. And in an effort to get maximum flavour, he's using lard made from the bones of the Highland cattle.
Not many people are used to having 4 courses anymore, so would they not find it a bit heavy?
You just gauge the size of it. It's portion control, isn't it? You just gauge how big it is. Really what you do is want to get maximum flavour impact. And obviously, paired up with a nice bit of light pickle salad, that keeps it all light and kind of fresh in spring, summer, you know?
But Tony's still not convinced.
Depends on what size Michael does his pie, because it has to just be enough so you're full. You didn't feel bloated after your meal. My dish, 1 pigeon breast, some asparagus, nice dressing, that's quite nice and light because you've got a fish course as well. Not many people have 4 courses when they go to dinner. I think mine's is a bit more balanced.
Knowing what's at stake and that they'll be scored every day, there's no love lost in the kitchen. Alan is poaching prunes in Earl Grey tea for the puree that will accompany his terrine.
Alan, I heard Jeremy mention you're using 3 ingredients for your starter, is that right? Maybe not your usual approach.
I'm trying to think about the brief and think about the banquet because, you know, when we're cooking in the restaurant, we've got, 10 chefs to cook 30 covers.
Yeah.
And I've got to do something of my own here that will stand up to sort of scrutiny and 100 guests. So I need to be a little bit smarter. This year I've tried to think about the brief more.
Alan started his search for the ingredients for his starter at the House of Dun, 3 miles from Montrose on the east coast of Scotland.
The problems I have is that I'm based in the south of England. A lot of my suppliers I've used for over 10 years, so I know them inside out. They know what I require, and I actually understand the product very, very well. So I would say for me, that's the biggest challenge.
For centuries, the land surrounding the house has provided a bumper harvest of tasty ingredients.
You see this arsenal of weapons? The gamekeepers would be using side-by-side shotguns for their pheasants and partridges and wildfowl. This was what you practically use as your shopping trolley.
It's a good way of putting it.
Aye.
Alan left no stone unturned in his search for inspiration for his menu. And he hit the jackpot for his starter when he came across Milton Hall Farm, just down the road.
Have you found the flavour of these birds has improved from it being outside?
Oh yes, it tastes like chicken used to taste.
Find some great suppliers. I think the thing I'm looking forward to most is just trying to get some of the passion and enthusiasm they have for the product onto the plate.
Well, Alan may be happy with his choice of chicken, but the other chefs are still questioning if his choice of dish is wrong.
Alan's doing cockaliki terrine. Good spin on it. Love cockaliki. Great. But cold, I don't know how the flavours will marry up.
I'm surprised at Alan's dish to an extent where I know that it can be quite elaborate sometimes. It's an interesting contemporary twist on a classic Scottish dish. So it'll be interesting if he's able to carry that through.
There's enormous pressure on all the chefs as they know that everything rests on the quality of their starters. And Alan has doubts about whether Tony's roast pigeon salad is suitable for the banquet.
So, Tony, wood pigeon, would you not be worried about getting the cooking absolutely perfect, cooking 100 pigeons at once? I would be worried about that.
So that'd be no problem.
You know, pan frying dishes, doing things last minute. Is that suitable? I'm not convinced it is. I'm just trying to concentrate on myself because at the end of the day, I can't affect the food they're going to cook. I can only concentrate on my own dishes. Is there a winner out of the pair of them? I'm not sure.
I'm just going to take them off the breast, lightly roasted in the pan, making a hazelnut praline, and that's it. Some asparagus and radishes for pepperiness. Just keep it really simple.
Myself and Michael will come down and be commis chefs for you if you win.
That's all right.
The mood in the kitchen is quite tense, actually. So I'm reading It's Head Down and getting on with it, very much so.
Crucial to the success of Tony's dish are his ingredients. So he started his search at Kelly Castle in the south of Scotland, sited on rolling hills that rise gently from the north shore of the Firth of Forth. The 14th century castle has a rich history of food production.
The gardener and obviously the owner planned what to grow and when to grow it so that you could be fed
through the year
until the spring again when things started to grow.
And the hunt for produce turned up the unexpected.
What are they?
Hot.
They're hot. I was quite nervous when we got the brief for the competition because we had to find new suppliers, because one of the things a good restaurant's built upon is its produce. And the ones we've used for the last 15 years, I'd love to use them again, but it was a bit of a challenge.
But it didn't take long for him to find the ideal ingredient for his starter.
Pigeons actually breed 12 months of the year.
OK.
So you've always got a good supply of young
Fresh
pigeons.
young pigeons,
yeah.
OK. And what's better flavour-wise, is the older one or the younger one? See, I'm after a nice, subtle flavour, really tender.
I would go for the young pigeon.
Excellent.
Much more tender.
Back in the kitchen, the final banquet is never far from the chef's minds, as they could be preparing these dishes for some of the nation's finest food producers and the Prince of Wales.
So it's going to be a wee bit of pressure at the banquet, cooking for Prince Charles and all that.
You must get dignitaries up your end.
If we did, we wouldn't be allowed to say it, Tony, you know. But I don't think personally I have cooked for any of the royal families, so you know that's an added bonus for me, definitely.
It's always a feather in your cap, you know what I mean? That'd be great.
This pie would be fit for Prince Charles. It's a humble pie. It's very simple. It's classic design. All the things that he loves, I think, is encapsulated in this one dish alone.
But Michael set himself an immense challenge by choosing to make a pie, and he's already having problems with his pastry.
Why did I choose this dish?
You're under a bit of pressure here. How would you do it for the 100?
Well, you'd give me a hand.
That's the magic of the pie. Prep beforehand.
I think the real thing is the pastry is such a delicate thing. It depends upon the heat of the kitchen you're doing it in. Normally you'd like quite a cool place, but with this pastry you actually want the opposite. You want quite a warm place.
Michael's basing his menu on what he could source on or near the Balmacara estate, located between Inverness and the Isle of Skye. Many of the tenant farmers on the 5,500-acre Highland estate preserve the traditional agricultural methods of crofting.
So if I'm going to compose a regional, seasonal menu, you'd think I could find everything I need within the estate.
If you know where to look, yeah, certainly there's a lot of... you could forage for stuff.
The Highland cattle on the estate gave Michael some ideas for his starter.
Morag, are these... should I call them cattle or cows, or what do you normally refer to them?
Well, I call them my girls.
Your girls?
My girls,
oh, that's
yes.
very fitting. I'm really dying to be able to taste the meat, because I really don't think I've had Highland cow
You'll
before.
think you've died and gone to heaven.
Oh, well, I hope so, Morag.
My mouth's watering already.
I'll need to try it out you first, Morag, yeah?
Yeah, anytime.
You know better than all these judges put together, don't worry about that. Well, you can't help but be inspired by this environment and these kind of surroundings. You know, natural flora and fauna does nothing but inspire you to create something which is as traditional as possible, but also with a new modern kind of contemporary twist to it.
But Michael's choice of Scotch pie is still raising questions in the kitchen. Jeremy's keenly aware that should Michael get through to the banquet, he'll need to replicate the recipe for 100.
Michael, how are you doing?
I'm doing OK, thanks.
You think you're doing OK today?
No, I'm OK. I had a little bit of a glitch. Pastry is very temperamental, so it's just getting used to this kitchen environment, getting used to how it's going to behave.
Michael really has been a big stick to beat his own back with, I think, with this dish. Could be very brave, bold move, but is not an easy path to follow, that one.
Three chefs in the kitchen, three very different starters. But whose will be suitable for 100 local producers and the Prince of Wales? Will it be Alan's cock-a-leeky terrine with prune puree? Tony's roast pigeon with hazelnut praline? Or Michael's Scotch pie of Highland beef? All three chefs are confident in their choice of starter. But the scoring's down to Jeremy, and he's keeping an open mind.
They're all good dishes. It's very hard to tell at this stage precisely who's got a lead.
Jeremy knows how important this year's brief is and is keen to know how much effort the chefs have put into finding new local suppliers.
Tony, everything you're using could be had from very close proximity to Kelly Castle.
You could get everything within 3 miles of the castle.
That's very, very impressive.
That was one of the edges I got. Fabulous produce, great producers, great forager. So I think when it comes down to the judging about the brief, I think I should get a gold star and a smiley face against it, because 97% of the produce comes from the estate or within the 3 miles. You can get all that stuff. So I think I've done really well there.
And what of Alan's efforts?
And a rapeseed vinaigrette with English mustard, is that quite a potent?
I've done 2 vinaigrettes. I've done one with rapeseed oil and mustard, and I've done another very neutral one, just using like a using a plain vegetable oil and white wine vinegar.
Sorry, what did I hear you say rapeseed oil dressing on there then? With English mustard?
English mustard.
So the rapeseed's from Scotland, do you?
It is,
No,
but
it
English.
says English.
English mustard.
I've got some Scottish rapeseed oil for you if you'd like to give it a wee test run.
Well, I'm actually using that. So if you're going to be smart arses, let's get your facts right.
I hope Alan remembers what the spirit of Scotland is. I'll maybe flash my tartan boxer shorts at him if I have to, you know.
I'm getting a few jibes today about, being based in England and, having English ingredients. But at the end of the day, I think that's a weak argument. If they want to be a big fish in a small pond, then that's up to them.
Alan will be the first to plate up his starter. His terrine has been chilled in the fridge.
Don't look too bad. So I'll leave a cling film on there.
He's serving his chicken, leek and prune terrine, accompanied by a blanched baby leek and prune puree.
Are you putting rice in it?
No, it's just chicken, leek and prunes. One more for that. Okay, there we go. 2 cock-a-leeky terrines with a prune puree.
Good luck, my dear. Should we go and have a taste?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Please.
Jeremy and Alan will try the terrine in private, giving Tony and Michael the chance to scrutinise their competition.
So you've taken a very traditional, very famous Scottish soup, cockaliki, and turned it into a very light, summery terrine.
I just wanted to keep it really clean. Simple,
Yeah.
simple, simple, simple.
No rice in it though.
No rice. Does that make it non-cockaliki?
Non-leaky cocky.
It's all very well doing a really clever dish, and I'm taking my own advice here. But could you replicate that for 100? Would you be comfortable putting me through with this dish for 100 people, risking your reputation and mine? And I think the answer to that is yes, in my view.
Alan may have confidence in his dish, but Jeremy's revealing nothing.
Classic combinations.
Yeah, no, it works.
It's very
as a
sharp,
classic,
isn't it? But a terrine, you only get one chance to get it right, so the seasoning's got to be perfect. You know, you only know until you serve it, don't you?
What do you reckon?
The one glaring thing is the temperature's wrong. It's too cold at this stage. I've just sliced it straight from the fridge. I would think that that is a major weakness for me because a lot of the major flavours are suppressed because it's too cold.
A mistake as simple as this could cost Alan his place in the competition.
Have you done the chicken justice? Has it done you justice?
I'm comfortable with it. I'm happy with it, and I like the flavour of chicken.
I'm glad to see you have got great confidence in this. Let's wait and see.
For me, if I was going to score this dish, I think it's an 8 or a 9 out of 10 dish. I think the temperature would have taken it right up there. How Jeremy's going to score it is a difficult call from my point of view because I can't second guess him, but I'm happy with it, and that's really important to me.
But Jeremy won't be revealing his scores until he's tried all 3 dishes. It's almost time for Tony to plate up his starter. He pan-fries the pigeon breast in butter.
How you getting on there, Tony?
Just getting ready to play up now.
Coming together?
Yeah.
Next, it's the warm asparagus salad.
So you're putting a lot of love into that.
Well, that's it coming together now.
Aha! Pigeon and hazelnut praline salad.
Yes.
What do you think of that, then?
If I was to be honest with myself, a little bit more balsamic.
I'm very intrigued by your dressing, I have to say, the praline, because it is more familiar at the end of the meal in a dessert than it is at the beginning.
Well, we're going to have pudding anyway, and we Scots have a great sweet tooth, so sneak it in at the beginning as well.
I'm really enjoying the flavours. I think Tony could refine it slightly, and it wouldn't take a lot of work to do that.
You wouldn't be interested in roasting the pigeon on the bone and carving them on the day?
That's when you get into trouble. You know what I mean? If you get something that doesn't come cleanly off, it staggers on a couple of seconds, you think there's nothing there, but if you've got 100 and you catch up with 10, 12, it's adding on time, so off the bone, pan fried.
I think you can do this for a banquet, Alan.
I'm not sure I'd want to do pigeon for 100. I don't know if I'd put my name in it.
Do you think it has that little it factor that will elevate it above all others?
Well, it's like myself, simple and satisfying. I think it'll tick all the boxes.
I just don't know if this showcases the huge talent that we know Tony has.
I think that went well. I think he got what I was aiming for, the sweetness, the sharpness of the vinegar and everything. I'm about 90% happy with how it tasted. Because I should have put a little bit more balsamic in it, that's what we'll be changing next time. A little bit more sharpness in the praline, and I'll be chuffed.
Couple minutes.
Having rescued the pastry, Michael has baked his pies in the oven for 30 minutes.
You feeling the heat, mate?
I have to be honest and say yes, I'm Alan, yeah.
He's made a simple pea puree, which will sit underneath the pie.
That's nice, eh? Thank you, little pies.
Think the portion's okay?
Need to eat it. Oh, look at that.
He adds the pickled winkles and wild spring salad.
Michael, third and final starter, your Scotch pie and winkles. Alan, what do you reckon?
Like, look at that. I've been looking forward to eating this.
Smells lovely. I like a Scotch pie.
We'll eat this first. Zip.
Are you quite confident with this one?
You've got to give something a shot, haven't you? It's a competition, you give it a shot. I'd rather it crushed and burned or was a tremendous success rather than being in the middle ground and, you know, didn't make some sort of statement.
I love pies, but as a starter, it looks quite daunting. I mean, if you're a young lady sitting there, you're getting a pie for a starter. You know what I mean? What you get to feel?
It's a bit risky.
Yeah.
It's Scottish, it's using Scottish Highland beef. It's identifiable with the Highlands, with Scotland. That's what I'm looking for.
very, very, very dense. That meat is so compressed.
It's slightly overcooked, but I think you still get the flavour of the beef. It's a shame it's slightly dry because of it's slightly overcooked. When it's right, the neck of beef does have the right fat content.
Yeah, Mike had a few problems with the pastry today. I don't know how he'd get on with 100 people for this.
I hope that Jeremy can see through the slightly overcooked pie. It should be really easy for me to adjust this, make sure that it's spot on. So, you know, I've got time to do that. I'm confident that I can turn this around, and it's just made me want to try, you know, even harder, get more focused on everything that I'm doing.
Tastings done, all 3 chefs are vying for the chance to cook for the prince and the producers. All they can do now is wait for Jeremy's verdict.
It's very difficult to take 3 very distinctive styles of food, all completely different, and to criticise them and to score them accordingly.
The starters simply put together but tasty, so with the ingredients and everything, hopefully I'll get through to the next round.
I am 60% pleased with how it went. At the end of the day, I overcooked the pie. I'm not going to blame the oven. It was down to me. I should have nailed it much better than it did.
It's time for Jeremy to deliver the points for the starter course based on taste and execution alone. It'll be their combined scores across the week that decides which 2 chefs will be cooking for the judges on Friday.
Well, gentlemen, how are you?
Bit nervous.
Bit nervous. Alan, as you went first, we'll start with you. And I thought your terrine, something I never, ever, ever thought I would say of Alan Murchison. Possibly not quite enough identity and not too much of you in it, I thought. Tony, your pigeon salad, the amount of thought and care that went into your provenance, you're keeping so true to the brief, actually got in the way of your cooking. And I think had you unleashed your bit of spice and a bit of chilli, it would have created a really great dish. And then Michael, your pie, which I thought witty and brave, but in truth, it must be cooked faultlessly. After much deliberation and thought, Alan, I'm going to give your terrine a 7. Tony, I'm afraid a 5. And then Michael, I'm going to give you a 6. On that note, there are 3 more dishes each from you to do, which I think gives ample time and opportunity to fly the flag. Thank you.
So Tony scored 5 points for his roast pigeon. 1 point ahead is Michael on 6 for his pie. But the 7 for his terrine puts Alan in the lead, for the time being.
I'm still not happy. I think it's worth more than that. I won the first course, but there's a long way to go. But really difficult thing. Don't like it.
At the end of the day, I overcooked the pie a bit too much. It's got to be flawless, and it wasn't flawless, so he was absolutely accurate in those criticisms.
A bit annoyed because stuck to the brief, kept it simple, kept it tasty. Thought I'd score a bit more than 5, but bottom of the pile.
Coming up, the gloves are off in the fight for the fish course.
It's going to be a challenge because it's almost the battle of the lobster.
We did a cracking lobster dish.
I'll be interested to see how your lobster comes out because sometimes lobsters can be a bit rubbery.
You've got all the toys.
Mine is pulls apart.
Too fussy. I don't like it.
There's not that amazing wow factor. It's not like that. I've never seen anything like that.